Now, what can I tell you about James T. Madore? His middle initial is not Tiberius, that's for Star Trek. Well, first off, most of his news we call him JT. I can tell you he's a graduate of Washington University and the Columbia Graduate School of Journalism. Check. Don't be shy. I can tell you that his early days in Buffalo come in really, really handy when he wants to interview the governor, who's also from that area. Check. He has worked as a bureau chief in Albany for Newsday, covered local government, Suffolk County, as I recall. He's worked as a media writer covering Newsday, as I recall, during a scandal, as I recall. And he's held down the business desk at Newsday for decades. Check. JT is a man of faith and a man of integrity. And you'll notice I don't check those off because these are attributes that are to him. And I don't know how many of you know this, but JT had a challenging time learning how to read. He didn't learn the way the rest of us did. It took him a while, but he did learn. And I personally think that the challenges of those early years gifted JT with empathy. And I think it also gifted him with his drive for perfection that I know makes people at Newsday crazy sometimes. These two attributes, I think, are what bring us here today to celebrate JT with this very special award. But I also believe that his overarching gift is actually pretty simple. JT's a teacher. His never-ending drive for perfection, his commitment to street reporting serves as a model even for old folks like me. He is also at times as much of as an inspiration as irritation to the people he gets out of the office and into the streets to see. I've often met people who have met JT and they say, whoa, I never met a reporter like him. He listened to me, he heard me, he helped me. At a time when reporters are seen as an enemy, JT is out in these streets every day teaching people that we can be trusted, that we can help. And there's no ignoring the teaching that JT also does with high school kids, with college students interested in becoming reporters. He's helped launch many a career and has helped generations of reporters find, keep, and get better at their work. And he's done this through his leadership at Cebu and in his many speaking engagements, because he took all of mine when I was out for a while. It is my honor and privilege to introduce my colleague, my friend, James Madore. JT, come get him, boy.
Good afternoon. Joy, thank you for that very generous introduction and for your friendship. I'd also like to recognize the other Newsday folks who are here in attendance. Our owner, Pat Dolan, and his lovely wife, Louise. Our publisher, Debbie Krennick. Our editor, Rochelle Bishop-Sleets. Our managing editor, Baird Hegelson. And our former business editor, Margaret Corvini. Thank you to each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here to support me. Newsday is incredibly fortunate in its ownership. At a time when many media organizations are struggling to fulfill their mission, Pat Dolan provides the resources that make it possible for Newsday to cover every aspect of life on Long Island. Thank you, Pat, for being an inspiration. For being an inspiration to me and to every Newsday journalist. Thank you. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow honoree, Chuck Scarborough, on his 50 years of extraordinary service to the metropolitan area. Chuck, you are a trusted voice in good times and in bad times. Thank you. In December, I will mark my 30th anniversary as a Newsday employee. I will always be grateful to Silurians president Eileen Jacobson and her husband, Richard Gallant, for showing me the way at Newsday. Eileen and I worked together for several years covering the media in New York City. And I wouldn't be at Newsday if it wasn't for Richard Gallant, who hired me away from the Buffalo News in 1996. When Eileen told me that I had been selected to receive the Peter Kihss Award, I was dumbfounded. Thank you, Silurian Press Club, for this great honor. In preparing my remarks, I reached out to former Silurian president Mike Candell of CNN to find out more about Peter. Mike and I became friends through our involvement in the Society for Advancing Business Editing and Writing, better known as SABU. Mike, thank you for being here and for bringing business news to television. One of the many individuals that Mike mentored at CNN is Caleb Silver, the editor-in-chief of Investopedia and a former SABU president. Caleb, thank you for being here today. I wish I had met Peter Kihss because I share his commitment to shoe leather reporting, accuracy, and fairness. I also believe, as Peter did, that each of us has a duty to help the next generation of journalists. Like many business reporters, I came to the beat by accident and stayed because I found it both challenging and rewarding. Covering business news is about more than the numbers. It's about people. It's about people who work in corner offices, on factory floors, and in home offices. It's about dreams of new products and services, expanded operations, and sales opportunities outside the United States. Over the years, I've reported on the rise of online shopping, the economic fallout from the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Martha Stewart's questionable stock trades, and a financial planner who defrauded 400 senior citizens on Long Island out of more than $160 million in retirement savings. But the pandemic reminded me that every story matters and that readers make life-changing decisions based on the information that I am providing. Thousands of non-essential businesses were forced to shut down for months in 2020 and in 2021 as governments tried to slow the coronavirus's spread. Employees were laid off, and entrepreneurs faced the real possibility that their dream of a thriving company would be extinguished. During that frightening time, Newsday and the Long Island Association Business Group launched a webinar series to help small business owners. Each week, hundreds tuned in as representatives of the U.S. Small Business Administration, New York State government, along with lawyers, accountants, and college professors, shared their expertise. I moderated those discussions with the goal of getting as many audience questions answered as possible in 30 minutes. I also wrote nearly every day about pandemic business relief programs, such as the federal Paycheck Protection Program loans. Desperate entrepreneurs on Long Island and around the country called or sent email messages asking for help. I tried to respond to each one of them, often suggesting sources of reliable information that would not charge a fee. More than 65,000 of Long Island's 300,000 businesses were approved for Paycheck Protection Program loans. As a result, many, but not all, survived the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. For me, journalism is about community. When I'm on assignment, I often recall one of my late mother's favorite sayings. She would say, "God did not put us on this earth to take, but to give." On behalf of Mom, my late father, and Newsday, thank you for this great honor.
And congratulations, James. Thank you for the kind words, James, and congratulations on that. You do fine work out there on Long Island. I really appreciate that.